Well, hey, Mark and Sally, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thanks,
Thanks for having
Martha.
us.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to see your new venture take off. It's called the SFAI Agency, and it fits perfectly into what I'm talking about in this age of AI, which is, what are we humans losing? What are we gaining? And so, why don't you guys tell me what the SFAI Agency is all about, and you can spell it out for our listeners.
Okay, yeah, so the SFAI stands for, it's a ridiculously long name, but it's the Artificial Intelligence Agency of San Francisco Incorporated. But it
Hmm.
basically it's founded in the idea of giving creatives agency amid
Hmm.
the chaos of AI. A lot of it is built around these tools to help creatives and to help a wide range of creatives, from artists to journalists to other kinds of writers to audio.
And tell us what this program does, or whatever you're calling it. What would you call it? A tool?
So we're calling it a platform and tools, and the foundation of so much of what we're building is based on the ability to detect where your work has been scraped. And scraping refers to the idea I'm sure you know, but the idea of taking IP, taking creative work and vacuuming it up into data sets that are then used to train AI models. And
Hmm.
so the vast
Hmm.
majority of that has been done without the consent of creatives. And so what we are able to do, and really when we started this, my understanding of data sets and AI models, it's this big mysterious black box that nobody knows what's inside, even including the companies that built it. And that's really one of the things they push, is this idea like, hey, it does amazing stuff, but we don't really know what's in it. And we're really sorry if we scraped up the stuff, but it's for the good of all mankind. And so the main tool in our toolkit that we have is the ability to really poke holes in that argument, where
Hmm.
we can peer in a data set and find my work. For example, we can look into models and using a method, using it's basically inference, where you can really make a very strong determination, even in a closed model that is kind of this mysterious black box. You can get to very, very high probability of knowing what work is in there. And so
Hmm.
once you
Hmm.
know where your work has been scraped and where it is, then the next step is to do something about it. And so that's really underlying pretty much everything we're doing, is the ability to look in there and to really say, like, hey, my work is in there. Like, and now, what can you do about it? And there's a lot of steps you could do with that as well.
So, what does
Yeah,
that look like?
If you do determine, or think there's a high likelihood of your work being in there, then if you're fortunate enough to have a team of lawyers, like the New York Times company or something, then you can go after a company and say, hey, this should not be in there, send them cease and desist. And then maybe that evolves into a big litigation, lawsuit, maybe class action, but it always involved courts. And
Hmm.
so,
Hmm.
so there's a range that is before that step that we can do. Like the simplest thing we could do, and that, we're going to do with the platform, is if it's an open source data set, which means that, other people can look into it. You can see what's in there more specifically. You can send a request for removal. So that's like the
Hmm.
nicest. Hey, by the way, I don't want my stuff to be in there. Can you remove it? Beyond that, there's other, really services that are existing out there, open source and otherwise, that allow you to think of it like an invisible watermark for images. There's something that you can put at the, just like an easy little thing that's, robot.txt into a web page. That's basically like a request to the robots to please don't take this. But it's like the honor system. Sally and I have been talking about this before. It's like, well, wait, that I don't think the honor system always works in this day and age. So, it can be something as simple as, like, think of it like a metadata tag that asks the robots nicely to skip over your life's work. And,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that's a big risk. That's a big ask.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we're trying to establish ways that are a little more pointed and a little more technical than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing it's worth mentioning is, I mean, first of all, I want to say this is like as a journalist, right? You're a, a journalist yourself. This has been really an interesting experience, like navigating. I usually stay out of politics and business and everything, but this is a time when journalists have to protect their work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's just being taken right in front of us, like plucked right out
Right.
of where it's being published. Um, and there's no legal precedent. And we also didn't have any information, like what was
Mm-hmm.
happening. And so we're, you know, like Mark mentioned, we are black AI has been presented as like a mysterious black box, and we can now shine a light in that black box and see if our
Mm-hmm.
work is inside. It's like that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
straightforward.
Yeah.
And one thing I think that was really fascinating was learning that in some cases, like we were looking for a friend of mine. His name is Jamal Eagle. He's a really accomplished cartoonist, a comic book illustrator. And we found samples of his work in these models, but they also had his name. And we're working with this AI scholar I kind of said, well, why are these samples with his name? Because the AI
Mm-hmm.
models, like the AI companies say, well, we just want to learn how to draw an apple. We just want to learn how to draw Superman. So
Mm-hmm.
why do they need to know that this is how Jamal Eagle draws it,
Mm-hmm.
Superman or an apple, right? That's something
Mm-hmm.
that we
Yeah.
found.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
you can say in the style of, please give me a drawing in the style of Jamal Eagle and go from there.
Yeah, and
So you're
that's like,
saying that that's yeah, and that he had no recourse to say, wait a minute, do I want you learning from my sketches of an apple? And that's
yeah,
basically what you're doing is putting the brakes on.
yeah, well, it's a step beyond that. It's like
Mm-hmm.
somebody,
Mm-hmm.
these companies could recreate Martha Little's voice, and then someone could go onto the internet and say, "Give me a voice that sounds like Martha Little."
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah,
that
and it,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
and it
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that the name is associated with it, what Sally is saying, it shows that their argument that, oh, we just want to have like a general idea of what a good radio voice podcaster sounds like. But if your name's associated with it, that shows that that's a disingenuous argument, that it's like, well, no, we want this version,
Right.
and so
Right.
it's much more than learning, what an apple looks like or what a chair looks like to this model. So
So
there's
and
so much there.
so there are, I assume, journalists interested in this. I mean, who are you catering to? It sounds like cartoonists, perhaps
I mean,
journalists. What's
who
yeah.
are we not catering to is the question.
Yeah.
I even spoke with somebody who's a choreographer who said at work, right? I'm at Columbia at the journalism school, and one of my colleagues walked up to me, and I think we were, whatever, it doesn't matter. She was chatting and said, I was a dancer and there's all this choreography online
Mm-hmm.
and videos, and I can see this being useful to dancers because there are already cases where choreography is being pirated. And like now, I guess in theory, someone could go online and say,
Mm-hmm.
design a ballet in the style of XYZ composer. So we are working across modalities. So this would be of interest to anyone who is a writer, a filmmaker, a photographer, a visual artist of any kind, a painter, an editorial cartoonist like Mark, a
Mm-hmm.
podcaster like you,
Mm-hmm.
voice
Mm-hmm.
actors like
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
did I skip anyone where it's
Well,
anyone who
it's
creates
anything
things?
from, and that's where we started. Like we started, kind of with me as, the guinea pig. And then it built out from there to other types of creators and people that are doing other kind of work. But really, once you get that to work, there's nothing to prevent it from working for like a larger holder of IP, like, an
Mm-hmm.
animation
Mm-hmm.
studio or, or a media outlet. It's like it doesn't have to just be individual one-offs. But I think the traction that we've seen there is particularly exciting just because, before people had no agency. And that's, that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of how we landed on calling ourselves SFAI Agency. It's like it's giving that agency to individuals but it can also give an agency to, larger companies and larger holders of IP or brands. It's like if you don't want your Mario Kart characters to be repurposed with AI and put in compromising positions in videos, it's like this could help prevent that.
Right,
And it's
right. So
yeah,
there's one value I look at. I mean, one of the sort of raison d'etre that I use for the show is what are some of the values that are being compromised, or what are we trying to protect, or what is AI giving us? And it seems to me in this venture that you guys are fighting for the dignity of artists. Would that be fair to say that dignity is one thing? I mean, aside from the economics and so on, that there's a pride that people have in their creations, and that this value is worth defending.
I think it goes beyond that. I think that's really a nice sentiment, and of course, we would want to be seen as defending dignity. But I think it's like pure theft right now, right? It hasn't been legally decided, but I mean, that's how it feels. It feels like this is my work, and in my case, literally my voice. For audio people. Yeah. So I think it's a little
and
beyond
it builds
dignity.
into that idea of, we talked about life's work. It is all the work that you've done up till then. Like Sally's voice is based on who she is and how her career has gone and how she speaks and how she's really gotten all of that, from a lifetime of work. And similarly with me and my artwork. And it's protecting that. And it's also, I mean, one thing that we haven't talked about yet, like this, there's this defensive crouch that's easiest to understand, where artists and creatives of all kinds, journalists, you're in this pushback mode of like, hey, go away. I don't want this. But really, I mean, what brought me to working on this project initially was actually trying to use AI with my work. And so that was really, I mean, it might be an interesting backstory to talk about this, where I, having done animation, and most of my career has been creating animated shorts that are political, that were, like a grueling production schedule. And it was generally just me and voice actors that, I would pay and work with. But it was generally just me on the production side. So it's a grueling, ridiculously short time frame to crank this stuff out. And so AI was very appealing to me, like the idea that I could, train a model on my work. And so anything that was out there on the consumer side was really not that great at all. And it was also trained on other artists' work. So that was how, our friend at Stanford, who's, our AI brain behind a lot of this program or this project, is, that's where we started working and building a prototype. Like, can I make an AI model that can draw in my style? And so that's where we started. Yet at the same time, it's like, well, how can I protect my work from other people doing that?
Right.
And so it's like,
I was going to ask you about that. I was asking you about the sort of paradox you find yourself in, that using AI, obviously, as I do, to make a podcast, you use it, you want it to assist you, and yet you also don't want it to take you over and eat you alive. So how do you cope with that tension? I mean, are you out front about it, I guess, is a question.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really, I mean, the paradox is more on the other side, where we're using AI to attempt to control AI and push back against AI. It's like these methods we're using rely on AI to, kind of try and rein it in and do it in a way that we want to be in charge, so that the humans are still in control. And so that side,
but that model that you're using to build your own cartoons, do you know that it didn't scrape other artists' work to build your own?
Exactly. And that's where that's the starting point for all of this, is like making sure that is the case, and trying to do it in a way that isn't just pumping out AI schlock and work that's just, bad and not in my style. And so that's farther down the road, but that's another tool that we would have for creatives to be able to use. on this
Mm-hmm.
platform.
I mean, Martha,
Sally?
we're not Luddites. Like I use Google Docs and spell check and like I'm talking to you on my computer laptop right
There you
now.
go.
And like,
Yeah.
I'm not calling you from a landline phone. Like, but I think the distinction that Mark's talking about is we want to be able to use AI responsibly and make it a tool for us. And we don't want to become a tool of AI.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you all worry about some pressure that you might get from the AI big shots about putting some of these breaks or limits on, not maybe not even limits, but just gates on some of this content?
I mean, we're at David and Goliath right now, right? And we are very much David. So I don't know with our tiny slingshot. This is not keeping me up at night. I don't know. Mark is someone who's very outspoken in his political editorial work. And, I've done very sobering stories. So I'm not up at night worried about a giant tech company coming for me. Maybe I should be, but I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and in a way, we welcome that because we want to show that they aren't always in the driver's seat and that, this could be good for them as well. Like what we want to do, particularly, I mean, if you really project it farther down the road, this idea of model collapse and of, all of these AI images being out there used to train AI and you get this mad cow disease effect. What we are doing could be very beneficial to them. So we can determine what's AI and what's not AI and, provide training sets that are, licensed and, clean and good, versus just always trying to boil the ocean and always trying to scrape the entire internet.
I mean, Martha, I just want to say one other thing, which is like, this is not a fight that I personally am coming after. I'm not like, I don't have my boxing gloves on, in my sound booth. I haven't been training for this with my giant muscles. But like big tech is coming for our work and I don't have the backing of a New York Times or my own personal legal department. And so in this vacuum right now, I feel like we are stepping up to fight this fight and say like, okay, step back. Like I personally just kind of want to go on being a happy reporter, but my voice is being taken, like my actual voice. Yeah.
Mark, did you want to add or?
Oh, no, I totally agree with that. And it's that. And I think what I want to put in there is that we, when we started this and even before working with Sally, everybody looks at AI, at least in the world that I travel in a binary way. They either love it or they hate it. And for me, and now, for SFAI, we're looking at this as it's not black and white like that. Like this is the time to be doing something like this. This is the time to be shaping the direction of AI as a whole. Like that's kind of the, grander utopian vision of what we're doing. It's like, we're not just like railing against windmills with this. We're trying to kind of steer this direction. I mean, we've already seen such a pushback, whether it's against data centers or, against AI scraping. It's like, I feel like we're perfectly positioned to say like, hey, there's another way. And that's what we're trying to steer this towards another way that's more sane. So it's a tool. Like, I look at this as a tool, and ideally not a tool that's going to blow up the world. It's like, I want to be able to shift this.
Yeah, like if AI can cure cancer, great. Like let's check that box off. And I was on a reporting trip earlier this spring where as a reporter, I had to do what are called door knocks, where we literally have to go knock on people's doors and say, hi, I'm Sally Herships. I'm a journalist working on a story for XYZ. And we were in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I was with a colleague and, we didn't have a lot of time and we had like 15 addresses. So that was an example where I used AI. I put the addresses into AI and I said, please organize these, and it did. It was helpful. So like, that's an example. Am I using it to find sources for my story? No. Am I using it to like, was that an example where I used it? Yes. So that's how I'm using it.
Yeah. Are you all excited about this age we're living in? I would like to hear sort of what your gut is telling you.
Oh my God. I don't know. Mark's such an optimist. I was like, maybe he should answer this first. I'm such a
It's
Debbie Downer.
it depends on what day you get me. It depends on what day. Like I am very optimistic, and have been, loving using some of these tools and doing the work we're doing. It's great in that way. But then other days, like, I feel like, oh my gosh, if only it wasn't for the internet, things would be so much better. Like if we could go back and like, I'd be, doing cartoons on print, and, it'd be the old school days in that way. But, there's big problems then too. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't really look at it as like we're living in the most magical time ever. I think there's good and bad really in any time. And I'm not I mean, I don't know if maybe I don't know enough to be a complete doomsayer like some of the, the AI geniuses are. But as of now, I feel like this is a tool that we have to try and figure out and guide, rather than this is the most amazing time in the world to be alive, or this is, like 2 steps before the apocalypse.
I mean, yeah, people don't like change, right? Like, I know personally, I'm still upset about those like mechanized horse-drawn carriages you see all over, right? Like, so I'm still,
Central Park, you mean? Yes.
yeah, I'm still getting used to those. Wow. Yeah. So, yeah. But I'm trying to focus on the positives and trying to, I'm trying to create a peaceful and ethical way forward in my own little patch of, I was going to say the queendom.
Yes.
Are you convincing your peers in the creative industries that this is a worthwhile endeavor? I mean, just amongst your friends even, or do they feel like it's a Sisyphean task to try to hold back the tide?
Oh no, they're psyched for our tool Croquis, which is like the flower with a French spelling, which lets us look inside the box. They're like, I think they're pretty darn excited about that. And the question every time is, okay, I've got this info, now what? What do I do?
They're very excited, very excited.
And what do they do?
Just to be able to do something.
If you have a couple $100,000 and want to back our company, we are developing those next steps right now. But could get in on the ground floor, and same goes for anyone else. But we are, like Mark said, we are looking into takedown notices, the possibility of working with law firms. I think, this is something we've had discussions with, each other about. Like I am, as I mentioned earlier, at heart, I'm a journalist. I'm still a journalist. I am figuring out how to navigate being part of a company. I will not report on AI. I will firewall that. But oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. But we've had discussions about, I don't want to be in the business of litigation.
Right.
I don't, personally, but I also understand that something needs to be done. And so we are taking steps in figuring that out. And Mark mentioned we have these tools, everything from watermarking to other kinds of protections to providing a mechanism that will build to provide a takedown notice. And we're also looking at becoming a licensing platform, where AI, right? Because right now, your voice could very well be being scraped and used in training.
Unlikely, but yes.
Well, actually, I don't know how unlikely that is if it's out there. And so we are. That's like a key part of our business model. To be a clearinghouse.
It's a bit of a carrot and stick with the companies that are doing the scraping. It's like the stick is the fact that we can see inside the box and can block. And the carrot is that, well, if you want clean data, we have good, clean data. If people, this is totally optional, but if people want to license their work and get money from AI companies, they can do it. So it's this multifaceted idea. It's like we definitely started on that route of like, okay, now we know this. What are we going to do? And how do we push them in, hit them in the jaw? But really there's like so many more ways to do that. And that's one of the things we've been working together, to figure out. It's like, where on this continuum do we want to fall? Like, is it the gentle, like, hey, can you please remove this if you don't mind?
Right.
Or is it like, here's our team of litigators, prepare to see us in court. It's like, where do you fall? I mean, when I was first talking to our AI scholar friend about this, and we learned that we could actually do this technology and like actually see, essentially see inside the models and the data sets. My first question was like, well, cool. So now is there some way we can then like blow up the model or something? And he's like, well, that would be illegal and we're not allowed to do that. So I've since mellowed from that initial stage, but I think that's the knee jerk reaction for a lot of people. It's like, let's burn this thing down. But it's like, no, we don't have to do that. So we're finding that sweet spot.
Cynicism of AI will figure out ways around whatever the Croquis tool or whatever you're using. That's always a fear, I suppose. In this
definitely.
universe.
It feels like it's a race right now, right? We're trying to support a precedent being created and giving people these facts that they didn't have quickly so that, like Mark said, we can do this now.
Yeah. And I think one thing that we always talk about, within SFAI is that, yes, we have all these amazing tools and this ability to do these cool technical things. And you're right, it is an arms race. So like that will continually have to be updated and, we'll have to be vigilant about that. But really our bigger strength is more on the human side. And that's where, it's like I've spent my whole career, in the world of journalism, in art, in creating political cartoons and animation. And I don't want to blow that up and all of my relationships that I built over my career because I'm like suddenly becoming an AI bro who's like just trying to harvest people's data and make money. It's like, and similarly with Sally, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but it's like we have, something on the line with this. And it's like our most important asset right now is not so much the technical bells and whistles, even though that's great. It's more the level of trust. It's the people that we bring in. It's the relationships we've had. It's the new ones we're making where people look at this and they're like, oh, wow, those guys are onto something. And I trust them. It's like, and I think that's where we have an advantage coming from. Like we are weird AI founders, if there ever have been. And it's like, we're coming from a totally different place. And this place is a lot more tied in with this trust and this group of people that we're building.
I just want to get back to the Shire. Like, I
love that idea.
Live in Hobbit, have some hairy feet, and live there.
The public radio Shire. Like, I'm working on a great series on tax evasion. I really want to finish. Right. Yeah, just
there
get back to
that. Those days of yore, Sally. I'm sorry to say, those are. I think they're fading fast. I could be wrong. Any final thoughts? This has been great. Anything I've missed that you want to emphasize?
I feel overall, it's like just that. The one thing that I always say when I'm trying to talk to, a skeptical, curmudgeonly artist or whatever kind of creative, like to just look at this as not a binary situation. It's like you could try and fight this and fight this and fight this, but there might be ways that it could help you. It's like you don't need to, you don't need to go full bore and do everything in your life with AI agents, but there are ways to look at it and not be completely terrified and actually get that agency.
Yeah, I do worry. We gave, I was part of a talk at NYU animation. And I did go to art school, Martha. I have I have a bachelor's degree in illustration. So that is my background. So I totally get the art kids. I was an art kid. And they were, I'm also a parent. I'm a stepmom. And so I know teenagers and like some of them are really anti-AI. And I'm kind of worried because I know another worry is the opposite. Which we have also dealt with at home, which is like leaning into AI too much. But I'm also equally worried about the kids who are like not going near it. And I think about like, you know, again, the like mechanical the horseless carriages and like,
Right.
you know, the computational machines when those came around. And like the kids who ignored those, like probably didn't work out too well. So it's like you have to find a way. You can't ignore it. That's not going to work out either. So we're just like, yeah, we've packed up our little sticks and handkerchiefs from the Shire and we're marching out. I'm mixing metaphors here, but just work with me.
I love the Lord of the Rings metaphor.
I guess like come with us, fellow hobbits on our, you know, we're just like you.
We won't name who Sauron is here.
Yeah, if they don't watch out, Sauron's coming. So, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We can't.
Great analogy.
Yeah, and so we find you at SFAI. What's the full website name?
SFAI.agency.
Agency.
That's how you can find us. So you can track Sally and I down through there.
Clever use of agency, right? That we now have agency. Yeah, nice.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the idea.
Help us hold on to it. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you both in this fight. It's a fight, and it's really impressive what you've done. And I'll be eager to see what comes, and maybe we'll have you back and you can see what the progress has been.
Great. Sounds great. Thank you so much, Martha.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Take care.